What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony and Michelle, and we are discussing episode 7 of House of the Dragon. So, start with a funeral, end with a wedding?
Yes.
Like, the way that they're telling the story, it almost seems like in the same time span.
One wedding and a funeral.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
This was a messy episode.
This was a very,
and dark.
very.
That's an understatement.
So let's go ahead and talk about this darkness. Very much in mind of season 8 of Game of Thrones. Like, I have room darkening curtains downstairs in my living room where I watch this episode because that's where I have my big TV. I had all the lights off in my house, had the room darkening curtains, still couldn't see shit. Like, I understand you guys are trying to set a mood, but we can't see nothing.
Nothing.
I think they went with all natural lighting, like no artificial light whatsoever. So when they were walking on the beach, that was straight up moonlight.
That wasn't even enough light. Didn't see nothing.
Didn't see nothing.
Which I guess for me was good because I understand this is a story. I understand this is Game of Thrones. I understand incest is the name of the game here. I did not want to have to look at Daemon and Rhaenyra getting it on. So I'm kind of glad it was dark. Like, I couldn't even look. Like, I just tried looking at it for a second time. I couldn't even watch that scene. It's difficult.
Is it?
Was like, for me, it was.
Why was it difficult?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I guess it's different. Like, thinking about Game of Thrones, and we know about, Jaime and Cersei.
Our first episode.
Right.
Banging.
But they were grown. You know what I'm saying?
Jon and Daenerys.
And we already, right. But of course, again, with Jon and Daenerys, they didn't know. But again, they were grown. In this episode, even though both of the characters were grown, we've seen Rhaenyra from a child. You know what I'm saying? Lusting after her uncle. And it just felt very weird to me. Because even though she's a grown up in this episode, she's making her own decision. And I like the way that they actually played that. Like, she was I'm not going to say aggressor, but she was the one who was in control of that situation. Daemon basically was like, she took the lead. And I like that. It was just still so weird to me. Because I'm still thinking about teenage Rhaenyra in my head. And how long this obsession, I don't know. It's been going on a while though. Yeah. So it just, I don't know, it felt weird to me. So I don't know, which is weird because I don't normally get bothered by stuff like that, but it was just kind of like, but that's your uncle, and you know that's your uncle, and it's just out. It was, I don't know, it just struck me as weird. I don't know if it was because they made that scene, I guess in a way, a little more intimate than previous scenes. Like the only other sex scene we've really seen in this show so far was Rhaenyra and Sir Criston Cole, which was also very intimate. But again, they were both closer in age, so it didn't bother me as much, and they weren't related, so it didn't bother me as much. And then, you see Alicent and the King, which was gross by any stretch of the imagination. So it was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I kind of got those same vibes. I was just like, I don't know if I want to watch this. Like, okay.
And they in this, they really care about each other too. It was just different how they were acting towards each other. Yeah, I didn't find it weird.
I think the thing that bothered me too is because in the book, all of this takes place within a 6-month span. And the way that they presented it in the show, it's almost like, okay, we buried your wife in the morning, and at night you're sleeping with someone else. And then the next day, it seems like you've gotten married. That's, because there's no sense of time in this episode. So it just, I don't know, it just all, I loved the episode for what it did give us, but the timeline thing is bothering me.
Yeah. And I understand that
because it seems very cold and insensitive. Like you literally just put her in the water.
Yeah, I agree to that. That what's bothered me was that literally you was watching him with your eyes at the funeral. Did you not wait a few months?
It just
to confess your love. I'm just.
But Day being Day, you know, he just over there.
I mean, it just took him. I don't know. They've been apart for 10 years.
I know, but still.
Well, like she said, he abandoned her. That's how much she feel for him. Like, you know, that's her man. She really wants him, and he abandoned her.
Not once, but twice, if you think about it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because he abandoned her in the brothel, and then he abandoned her again on the murder floor, dance floor of her wedding.
Yeah. So, yes. But their interactions with each other, you're like, okay, so y'all don't care about anybody else. Like you care for your wife, Daemon, care for his wife. Like he said, well, in love, they were just enough happy, or
mostly. He said we were happy enough.
Happy enough.
Yeah. We were happy enough.
But the way they were interacting and their forehead touching and the intimacy, I'm like, okay.
It was very inappropriate for where we were in the episode. I'll put it like that. And I think that's probably what really bothered me. Like I said,
his
there's
in-laws,
so much shade.
His in-laws' land, her in-laws' land.
It was just there was just
and at the same time, the kids getting into it.
Like he was like her uncle, her brother-in-law, not even her husband.
There's just a lot, but yeah, I think really the whole time thing for this episode is kind of what got me, because like I said, it seems like all of this is happening in the same course of time as opposed to it happening over the course of a few months. You know, a few months, even a few months is kind of quick, but I don't know. It's just like I said, it seems like this is the same 24-hour period. Like, damn, let her body get like the water ain't even seeped into the coffin yet. Just and truthfully too, with the little bait and switch at the end, Sir Laenor isn't even quote unquote dead for a good amount of time before we see a wedding.
I was gonna say his body's not cold, but it was on fire.
Well, technically, but even though,
but you know what? Just like they said in the show, people gonna talk. They let them talk.
I know, but God,
let them talk.
And you know what? If it's just the adults, I can understand. You got children who are in their feelings about some of the stuff that's going on here,
right?
But
especially Luke. Lucerys, he's really in his feelings. Like he's like,
actually both of them are. Jay says too, because Jace is the one who is making it very clear to his mother, I know that was my dad. Like I understand.
Yeah, but
we hear my cousins lost their mother. He said, but I'm in a similar predicament.
Yeah, but that's not quite like Luce, who's like, if I'm Lord of Driftmark, that means everybody's dead.
I know.
He throws his toy horse over the
hurts. No, he didn't throw it over. He grabbed it and he left with it.
Oh, I thought he knocked it off, but he grabbed it.
He grabbed it and walked away with it. But I was like,
he's way in his feelings. Way in his. He's like,
I don't want to be Lord of anything, because that means my whole family is on that.
Everybody's dead. And Corliss couldn't say nothing. He's like, well,
I mean, clearly everybody's in their feelings in this episode.
Yes,
everybody.
Nobody more so than Queen Alicent. Make sure I say it right.
I don't even know. You try not to say Alicent.
Yes, please don't.
I don't even like. Okay, so one, we're at a funeral. Emotions are going to be high anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Lord Velaryon is giving the eulogy at his niece's funeral. And I forgot what it was. He said something.
Throwing
Um,
shade.
well, yes, he was
He
throwing
was of
shade.
pure Valerian blood.
While looking at Rhaenyra, first of all, I know Rhaenyra was like, I'm about to cut everybody's eyes out if y'all keep looking at me. Damn it.
And then something about the blood thinning out. I think that's when David started giggling.
I think it
Like,
is what was it that he said? He said something about he did say something about the blood being pure. He talked about them being from the sea and being strong from it. And then he said something else and I meant to write it down when he said, and Damon just kind of giggled and everybody just looked at him. I'm like, y'all, this man is burying his wife. Whatever y'all think of him, let him act however he gonna act.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But he knew where it was going.
Yeah.
So that's why he just like, whatever.
I mean, so much shade at this whole funeral. Yes, Queen Alice. I mean, can her disdain be any more obvious on her face?
I mean,
first of
all the time.
First of all, let's talk about the fact that you sitting here openly looking at her and just trying to figure out what's going on and, you know, paying attention to the pieces while your father, the new returned Lord of the Hand, is sitting there during the eulogy. You know,
this has to be the first time I saw someone get fired and then rehired to the same position. Like, nothing changed. It's the same problem.
It's the same person.
My question is, why is nobody
with the same motive?
Why is nobody else questioning? Especially, okay, we're probably gonna be all over this episode. I don't think I'm going in order because I have things to say that kind of tie in. So the whole scene that happened with the fight, with not with the kids, but with the adults, when Alicent, you know, went batshit crazy and tried to attack Rhaenyra or tried to attack her sons. When that open accusation was made in the room about the legitimacy of the boys, paternity, that would have been the perfect opportunity for Rhaenyra to very calmly, oh, okay, so you want to accuse my children of not being my husband's. So whose children do you think they are? Oh, Sir Harwin Strong. Oh, you know, it's really coincidental that this is the person you're accusing of being the father of my children. He and his father just died. And oh, look, your father has his old job back. How nice and how convenient. I would have pulled that out because then everybody would have been looking at Alicent like, oh, you know what? That is really that's a strange coincidence. Would have taken all the heat off of Rhaenyra. Cause you talking about, okay, yeah, she might have slept with somebody else and produced some children. Obviously, her husband ain't got a problem with it, because if everybody else in the kingdom got eyes, his ass got eyes too. And if he is loving on these boys and claiming these boys as Velaryons, who are y'all to say anything otherwise? But over here on your side, 2 men are dead. Just so your father can have his position back? That seems like something worth visiting. That's just me. That's how I would have played those cards. I don't understand why Renee.
I think she played the smart card.
She did.
She was like, okay, they want to play this game. How about this? He called my child a bastard. Where did he hear that from?
Yeah.
You know, like, someone had to have said something, and anyone who says that is guilty of treason. And if they're guilty of treason, they should be put to death. So we never did revisit that question.
Yes, we
and
did.
I can't believe
because when Aemond said he heard it from Aegon, and when the Queen questioned Aegon answered that the way anybody should have answered it. He was like, "We all know have eyes."
Aegon had the smart answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, everybody.
Because he was going to be thrown under the bus now.
Yeah.
He was like, who, me?
He's the master of deflection. Okay. Everybody knows.
But here's the thing. Even if someone had come forth and said, oh, yeah, I was the one that breathing. Do y'all remember who the king is? Because apparently this king, his son has had his eye gouged out. He didn't do shit. His daughter just got cut by his wife with his dagger. He ain't do shit.
Didn't do shit. Because I'm gonna
That
tell you, that's a murder, that's a treasonous offense.
It is.
She should have been executed, thrown in jail at the least.
mm-hmm.
At the least.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. What was I said when we podcasted a couple of weeks ago, Anthony? Viserys is weak.
Yeah.
Viserys is a punk.
Yeah, you did.
Like literally, your queen stole your dagger, went to go attack your daughter and grandson.
Yes. The heir to the throne.
Which we seem to forget.
The heir to the throne and her heir apparent.
Right. So all this protection over the queen.
People, you got to sit there and tell people, I am your king. Y'all will do as I say. Bro, if you got to tell people, if you got to remind people that they supposed to be doing what the fuck you say, let me tell you something. Ain't no, it's just...
Okay. I like this part of the conversation, but since we're jumping around, can we talk about your boy, Kristen Cole and your friend from Outlander? Because it was a couple of times he looked at him like, dude, don't. He's like, don't.
Right.
And like when she said, go take his eye out, you let him choose it. She's like, you're sworn to me. He's like,
to protect you.
No. First, your boy from Outlander looked at him. Oh, I'm sworn to protect you. Because it was that look like, you think you a badass, but you can try that shit if you want to.
Yeah, try that shit with Sir Harold.
Try that shit if you want to.
I would have loved to have seen, a little fighter. We know Graham can do some stuff from Outlander. He can get physical when he needs to.
But he didn't do that once, but he did it twice. Like, try that shit if you want to.
Right.
Because the first time Cole was smirking when it was coming out about the kids calling bastard.
Yeah, he's like.
He looked at him like we supposed to be quiet in the background.
That's what happens when you get too comfortable with the queen.
Right.
His ass should be dismissed from
he should have. Well, that's another day and another story of how you can keep your job after you murder someone, but and get and get an upgrade.
Get a promotion.
Get an upgrade.
Oh, but you know what? Had he actually tried to go after Rhaenyra's children at that moment, oh, I bet you Rhaenyra would have been singing then. Oh, how is it that you were still Kingsguard? You were the one who deflowered me. What?
Right. And that's a treasonous offense too.
Right. So, and then how are you going to do that? Okay, we know the kid's real father is, sure. But you're in their home though. You know what I'm saying? Lord Corlys' home, you're in their home and you about to attack his grandson.
Okay, so let's.
That was a cool thing when.
But the kids did go behind him too.
Well, Sir Harold, the first thing
like moved him over, like, oh shit.
The first thing Sir Harold did was he went over there where she was and he was talking to Cole like, stay your hand, but he was also going over there to the Driftmark soldiers because they're sworn to also protect Rhaenyra and her kids because they are Velaryons by marriage.
Right.
So he was over there like, whoa, y'all hold up. And then, Daemon being smart, he was like, hey, Cole, no.
Because he saw it coming.
We're not going to do this right now.
Okay, but see, this is the problem that I have with Daemon in this episode. And I think also, too, just the way that they're kind of writing him. So you walk into the room and you're looking around and you're seeing what's going on and you're listening. Your girls are over there with bloody lips because they done been smacked and punched around and everything. Why are you not over there taking care of your children or seeing about your children? But when Rhaenyra gets cut, you come over and you stand over there next to her kids and you are being affectionate with her children, showing your loyalty, but your children still over there standing behind their granny. And we ain't seen you interact with them at all in this episode. At all. You had a fucking funeral for their mother. You standing over to the side, your children are over here being comforted by their cousin and their grandmother. That's but you had time to go over here and show who you're loyal to, and then you had time to go over there and be sexing on the beach. I had a problem with that.
I got nothing.
And well, no, we did discuss something. Well, one is kind of hard because I guess we know side things where they do have scenes. He does have scenes with the kids and they cut it out. So I don't, we know
But
what they're
we
trying
need
to do with it.
that.
We do. However, it's just, I feel like we talked about it before. His girls had, like, even at the funeral, grandma is down. Grandma gonna pull the pins out her hair and stab people for those girls.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need protection. But I'm sorry, Rhaenyra boys do. They have no father figure.
Yeah, the father wasn't even there.
The father's not there. And he said that, I mean, I do love them, but I wasn't father enough. Their real father is like burnt to a pulp.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you got this woman trying to protect her kids against all others. So I can see that she needs some more assistance than your own girls. I didn't say it was right now. I didn't say it was right. And he probably in his head, I bet my daughters beat their ass too. But that's side note.
What was some of the
Laenor,
memes for this episode? Somebody was like, "Oh, them Daemon's kids."
Yeah.
when she he
wasn't worried about it. He wasn't worried about it.
Was it this episode, the last episode, where Laenor said, "I should have been there," and Rhaenyra was like, "That should have been our house words."
It was this time, this episode, because he was saying
this
sorry.
Episode. Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Wow, yeah,
right.
I should have been there."
Mm-hmm.
Those should have been our house words.
Even though Allison tried to, throw that out there, where is their father? Where is their father?
He just lost his twin sister.
She was trying to do
that man go grieve whatever way.
No, I know she was trying to get it off because she wasn't sure if her son was gonna call her name.
Right, because he looked at her.
So she like,
he told you that lie.
Oh shit! Where's their dad? But then you want to throw the dad under the bus. I bet he's entertaining
young squires.
And then his mom and dad looked at her like, "Bitch, please say one more word."
That's what I'm saying. I get what you're saying about Viserys. Viserys really should have done something with Allison. Like you are literally letting her blatantly. She talked about how Rhaenyra was blatantly flaunting and blatantly disregarding. How about you? And that's why I loved it when she said, "How about all that righteousness you're wrapped up with is gone?" And they see you for who you truly are.
It's like, yeah, right then there in that scene, we really saw, oh yeah, you really are jealous of Rhaenyra. That's the whole reason for your attitude, because of the fact that she's been able to choose freely what she wants to do, who she wants to do, and you stuck there with this old man that is literally falling apart. She has the life that you want. You may be the queen, but Rhaenyra has the life that you want. And you just made it plain to everybody that you jealous.
Now everyone sees you for who you truly are.
And then you pulled a knife. You were about to take a boy's eye out.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this boy. I'm sitting here watching this scene, and all I can hear is Casey in my head. That boy need a whooping. That boy need a whooping. She always says that with errant kids on these shows. Okay, so the first thing is, why is it that it's nighttime? Aemond is all the way across the island. You are the prince. You are the prince. You are the son of the king. Ain't nobody out there looking for you yet. That's the first problem.
No, nobody is.
First problem.
Otto was concerned for Aegon. That was it. Because he's the king to be. He's your king to be.
So with Aemond, it's kind of hard for me because I wanted to root for him.
Me too.
I wanted to root for him, but then he had to smack the girls around.
No,
I could even be okay with the dragon.
Me
thing.
too. And I was kind of like, it was a great scene too. I love the scene. I was like, okay, they could stop calling him, pig dragon. He gets an actual dragon.
But
But
he
then
didn't
he
have to
wrapped
get that
himself up
one.
with all that attitude.
As soon as he get off the dragon,
He
you
didn't have to take
have.
that one. That was disrespectful as fuck.
Yeah.
It is. But he just went with instincts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He went with instincts. He's always going in the dragon pit. He tried with other dragons. They just didn't allow it. But this one let him get close. However, instead of saying, you know what, I didn't mean for this to happen. I'm sorry, ladies. I just was out there. I was curious. We end up bonding. No. That sucker got off that dragon and was like, he was the king of the world. He wouldn't act like that before with his brothers and cousins.
That's how your typical bully. He was being bullied and pushed around, and all of a sudden he get a little power. All of a sudden he's a bully now. But then he smacked the girls around.
Oh, but no, even before that, he insulted them.
Yeah.
Talking about your mama dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you should have claimed.
Like I said, same day. Who thinking about that kind of stuff when they just buried their mama?
Right.
And I guess so. Thinking back to an earlier scene during, the whole repast or whatever you want to call it, when Jacaerys is over there comforting the girls, or over there just standing with the girls, and Rhaenyra walks over to the girls. She gives Jace this look like gone somewhere. First of all, let's keep up appearances. That's still supposed to be your grandchild. You don't have to treat him like that.
Yeah.
But he got up, he moved over to the fire, and Aemond moved over to the fire too. And the way that Aemond was looking at him, like I said in the last episode, it seemed like the boys all got along pretty good up until Alicent got into Aegon's head. Then you start seeing kind of the tension between the boys. But it was almost like Aemond came over and wanted to say something to Jacaerys. I don't know what that could have been. He could have been, okay, let's talk about it. At this point, everything is in the air. Everybody's looking at Rhaenyra and her boys. They're on Driftmark with the Velaryons. Those boys are supposed to be Velaryons. They look nothing like anybody else in that family. We see all the other family members with the silver hair. Those boys don't look nothing like those people. They don't, like you said, and they don't look mixed. They don't have silver hair. It would have even been okay if they had the silver hair but still looked like Rhaenyra, or if they kind of sort of look like Laenor with different color hair. But those boys look nothing like that family. So you've already got this tension. These boys, Aemond and Aegon, they're hip to all of this. They know that this is what the word is about their cousins. And I kind of sort of feel like on one side, Aemond wanted to maybe, I don't know, sympathize with Jace, because like Jace said, we're technically in the same position. We just lost a parent and grandparent too. But of course they can't say that, because that's, that would get Rhaenyra in trouble. Yeah. But I don't know.
It seemed, no, you're right. I think he did come over to just talk to, hey, we're at a funeral, just to talk to my cousin. Right. Hang out. And something stopped him. He froze, and
it's like he remembered, oh, we're not supposed to like them. And then he turned around and walked off, And it's just, I wanted to be kind of like, okay, I kind of sort of like him. Oh, maybe. Then he took off, and I was like, oh, he finna go claim a dragon, or he finna go try to claim a dragon. I didn't remember until I read something else earlier today. I didn't remember that Vhagar was his dragon, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's how he got him. Okay, I understand. But his whole, like you said, his whole attitude when he got back into the cave and the girls were like, it's you. He was like, yeah, it's me. Like, dude, these are still your family. You know what I'm saying? Might be distant at this point, but they're still your family. So then he shouts the thing about her, she was like, that's my mother's dragon. It was supposed to be mine. Well, your mother's dead and you should have. I was like, yeah, he need to be punched.
Yep.
So when they all started fighting, some people are like, well, they shouldn't have did this, whatever. Jace gouging out his eye, he brought a knife. I'm like, he probably realized, okay, so we already see that when it comes to training these boys, the Targaryens have gotten preferential treatment because Sir Criston Cole is the one that's training them.
Mm-hmm.
So already, they're going to be more skilled. They're probably going to be a little more vicious. I mean, we saw that on the training ground. So whatever the case may be, Jacaerys did not know that it was Aemond who stole the dragon. He got woken up out of his sleep. Hey, someone just stole Vhagar. He went with his cousins to try to protect, try to figure out what was going on. He didn't know that was going to be somebody close to him or somebody, he didn't realize that. But then Aemond, when he's sitting here and he's fighting all of them, not once, but twice, when Luke is on the ground, he has a boulder. He is about to smash Luke's head in. Not
And
once,
he was thinking about it.
Twice.
Yep.
No,
Yeah,
there wasn't no thinking about it. That was I'm about to smash your head in.
Yeah,
and then Luke threw the sand in his eye, and then Jace gouged his eye out. But I mean, even the first time that he was about to do it, the girls were looking at him like, no, don't do this. He was serious.
He was.
I blame.
Some people like, he didn't deserve that. You know what? That little boy got exactly what he deserved.
Yeah, I blame Alicent. I want to make sure I say it right. I blame Alicent because she poisoned them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like you. They really probably were getting along. They were growing up together, and everything that Viserys was saying in the last episode, well, the previous episode about the boys being together and playing together, that's how it was supposed to be. But she done jacked their minds up.
Yep.
She done messed them up because of her issues, her jealousy.
And
because I still think she should have been like, telling what's his name, Aegon, be Jacaerys' best friend. Be his boy, be his road dog, because that you might end up being hand of the king.
Yeah. But instead, you promised your daughter to your elder son, so you didn't have to make that deal with Rhaenyra from last week. We find that out too.
But the other thing too,
but he didn't. But he actually doesn't want it. He didn't want her. This is my sister. I like them over there.
He didn't care about the fact that she was his sister. He cared about the fact that, as he says, she's an idiot. She's not like us.
Yeah.
That was what he was cared about.
Yeah, that's what his concern is.
He said, at least we have one thing in common. We both like long legs.
But here's the other thing about Alicent. She is doing all of this, and she is so paranoid based on the stuff that her father told her 10 years ago. You literally have brought this situation into your household. Because had you have been just a steadfast supporter of Rhaenyra like you were, continue to speak up, along, she will be a great queen, whatever. Rhaenyra would not be thinking about, oh, it's us versus y'all. This whole Dance of the Dragons, we know, even if you're not a book reader, you know a little bit about what's about to happen. I mean, it's obvious, especially that whole scene where you've got the blacks on this side, you've got the greens on this side. It's obvious there is about to be a war in House Targaryen. You brought this on. You brought this on because your daddy got it in your head that Rhaenyra, your best friend, when she ascends the Iron Throne, if somebody challenges that, she's going to kill your children in order to stake her claim. And because your dad put that in your head, you ran with it. You allowed it to make you paranoid. You allowed it to make you angry. You allowed it to make you bitter. And now you are literally bringing this into your household. If you didn't have this kind of animosity towards Rhaenyra because of something you think might happen based on what your father told you, House Targaryen could be thriving right now. There could be so much good going on, even if there was the question of Rhaenyra's children's parentage, still it would not have gotten to this point. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
because of your hatred, because of your jealousy, because of your paranoia, I feel like that that little prophecy that your dad gave you, oh yeah, Rhaenyra is going to put the sword to your children, that's going to end up happening at some point or in some way. Your children are going to die because of your paranoia.
Mm-hmm. And not letting some stuff go. Let it go.
Without hanging with Mr. Toxic himself,
Right.
Christian
I mean,
Cole,
it seems like
because
he
he
just
ain't gonna let
sitting,
he
just
ain't gonna let
doing
nothing
it.
go. And you
And
know,
just
he asked
living
that
it.
when the series asked him who was on watch, like who was supposed to be watching them, and Christian Cole is like, we not supposed to protect princes against princes. Yeah, where were you? I know where you were. You were with Allison talking that shit about about Rhaenyra. That's
And
where
this
you
is
were.
the other thing about Allison. So you are so quick to cast suspicions on the princess and her choice of companions. You don't think people are probably doing the same thing with you? You are having nice candlelit dinners in your quarters with Sir Laris. Sir Kristen Cole, yes, I understand he's your protector, but y'all a little too chummy
All the
for
time.
all the time. So if that's how Rhaenyra and Sir um
Strong.
yes, Sir Strong
Sir
were,
Harlan. Mm-hmm.
then why wouldn't people think that? I mean, yes, of course you got the Targaryen children, I understand that. But still, you are a very young queen. You are a very attractive queen, and it's obvious you can't be still having relations with your husband. He can barely walk.
Right. And I'm
So
sorry.
He ain't got but one good arm.
Look, I will,
You know what he using that for.
and I'm gonna go back real quick to Daemon was wrong for the insult to his brother. The gods have been
he was telling the truth.
hard on us.
He was telling the truth though.
He was like extremely for you.
Especially for you, brother.
Um,
But he was telling the truth though.
I mean
He was.
he was. But I'm
was.
But
just
I do
saying,
think that it was sweet. He was asking him to come back to King's Landing. He's
Up
like, man,
until
this,
he said, I can give you what you need. And Damon was like, I don't
yeah, he
need
should have
shit
said
from
that.
you.
Yeah, he should have said that.
He
That
shouldn't have.
what is that? We always ever since Falcon and Winter Soldier, you always got to
It's
see
always
that
that last
one
word.
more, that one
It's always
last
that
thing you
last
said.
word. Mm-hmm.
Because Damon was listening, and he was being honest. He's like, look, think about it. They've said all the crap that he has put up with Damon. That's his brother, and he's gonna stick by him. He may be mad for a minute, but he's like, dude, you're my brother. Come back. This was like he should just name him the Hand. And I know I always talk about this, and I keep bringing it up, but Viserys keeps making the wrong choices. He was right when he picked Lionel
Sir
to be the
Lionel.
Hand,
Or Lord
and
Lionel.
yeah, but he really should have asked Damon to come back to to be the Hand, be his hand. How else what better way to live out your days? Because he has to know his days are numbered. To have your brother as your hand and your daughter ascend to the throne, and she would be his hand.
mm-hmm.
Or he
Or
would
he
be
would be
her
her
hand.
hand. He would
Yeah.
be her hand. So
I don't know. I don't know I I don't know what's on Viserys' mind. I mean, obviously we see his health is not the greatest. I have a feeling that he's gonna be gone after next episode, especially because they're moving so fast through this story. I
yeah, it's
think
starting to pick up.
what's gonna happen is they're using this season to tell Viserys' story and Rhaenyra's story. I think with next season, it's all gonna be about the kids and that war because they're moving so fast through all of this.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel like they could have given us a little bit more time with some of the characters because again, next episode we have another time jump. So even the kids from this episode, we won't see them next episode. All new cast for the younger characters. We're gonna see them as, I guess, maybe early 20s. But I'm like, slow down just a
I
little
think something you said in the last episode that we recorded where maybe they weren't sure they were going to get a second season. And someone said that at Dragon Con too.
bit. Yeah.
They said that it seems like they weren't sure that they were going to get another season. So they tried to put in as much as they could into this season with the time jumps.
Right.
But I understand next week's time jump because we're like done with the kids right now.
Yeah. And then they can't cover a lot of downtime. Like it would be
because it'll be downtime. It'd be like
they gotta get old enough to do stuff.
Daemon and Rhaenyra moving into their new home, having their first child together. We don't need to see all that. Let's move on.
Can we touch on Lord Corlys and Rhaenys? Because Rhaenys is like, dude, I had let that shit go a long time ago.
She feels like what she said. The gods are punishing them for their pride.
Yeah, for his pride.
Yeah,
there were like 2 Hamilton references in that scene. Legacy. What is a legacy?
Oh.
And I was like, that came in my mind. And then something else that he said that sounded an awful lot like from Hamilton, but it is true. About the names.
I wrote it down because I loved it. History doesn't remember blood, but
it remembers names.
But and this like,
but he's telling the truth though. I mean,
like, no one's gonna remember honestly what the kids look like or their parents. They would have just known that a Velaryon ascended to the throne.
Yes,
and became a Targaryen. That's all that they would know.
But I tell you,
yeah, she really, I think she had said in that previous episode that we are basically making our children targets. That we're putting them in harm's way in all this secession stuff.
Yeah,
I think she would have been fine just living on Driftmark and just being themselves and not being involved in all that crap because she saw how it worked out. It didn't work out well for her, so move on.
Right.
And don't get your children involved in that BS.
At all.
At all. To stay away from it.
Right. But I mean, and I mean, let's be honest, she knows her family.
Yep.
Yes, she does.
But now both of your children have married into the Targaryen family.
This mess.
And it's got messy. Laena has already died. And granted, it wasn't through any fault of hers or Daemon's that she died. I mean, it was the times. Childbirth is perilous for any woman, but you talk about back then when they had no modern medicine and they were just kind of at the mercy of the knowledge they had. I mean, that had nothing to do with it. I mean, I'm sure Rhaenys feels like, like she said, she needed to be here. She needed our maesters. And I mean, Corlys said, the maesters and Pentos are just as good as the ones we have here. But I think for her as a parent, she probably feels like something more could have been done. Maybe Laena would have been more comfortable where she is. I mean, think about it.
I think she was more or less talking about her being home because she said, Daemon didn't bring her back because, she wanted to come back, but Daemon didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of what was playing in her head too, because then if she was here, then our maesters could have taken care of her.
And if not, I will still have my daughter here. To the end. Yeah. I can see what's going on. I can be her support until the very end.
Because ultimately, she wasn't by her side. She wasn't with her through that struggle, and that's probably going to bother her for a while.
But she went out like a boss.
She did, but I find it just so interesting and so sad that, as far as Rhaenys knows, both of her children went out by fire.
It's true.
Because of course we get the scene later on where, after all of this drama, Rhaenyra and Sir Laenor, they have a talk. And he basically is like, look, Sir Carl is about to go to the stepstones. He's gonna go back and fight. I'm gonna do my duty here to you because that is what I promised, and I have not stood by my word. I have not been the husband that you deserve. And I commend him for that. I commend him for saying, okay, you know what? Our family is under attack. I have not been the man I promised you I would be. He was like, we made an agreement all those years ago, and I've not really been holding up my end of the agreement. So I'm going to do that now. But at this point, I think Rhaenyra is like, this is not going to work. It's not going to work. And then, in this mind, she's already decided, I want Daemon. And she has that conversation with Daemon, and she was like, look, let's do this the way it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be me and you ruling. Let's get this done. And he was like, well, Sir Laenor would have to die. And while they're having this conversation and they're going back and forth between these scenes, I was really sitting there like, is she really going to kill Sir Laenor so she can be with Daemon? Because, of course, Sir Laenor does die in the books. But the way that they played it with this episode, I will say, is not very often that an okie doke surprises me. This one did. And I was so glad that they did it this way because Rhaenyra, when they're having a conversation with Sir Laenor, she's basically telling him, I don't mind you for who you are. He says this line, he says, I hate the gods for making me the way that I am. And she was like, I don't. She was like, you're an honorable man. You have a big heart. None of this, she was like, that's rare. And I don't think she ever held it against him the way that he was. It just, she knew what she was getting into when they got married, when they agreed to get married.
And they answered everyone's questions. They did try.
They did
try. Everyone, they did try. However, it just didn't work out for them to have kids.
And she even said, I really wanted your children. I wanted to have your children. But it just didn't work out. And I've seen some people have conversations. They're like, well, why didn't he try harder? I'm like, okay, I don't know if most of y'all don't understand how it is being gay, but I have talked to enough people to understand. Yeah, and we talked about this last week. You can bring somebody else in to get it started or whatever, but if he as a gay man is opposed to the pussy, as Lafayette used to say in True Blood, there is no way that union is going to happen. I have enough gay friends who have tried to have sex with women to know it's almost like ill. How are you going to do what you're supposed to do? How are you going to perform what you're supposed to perform if you are repulsed by the very thing that you're supposed to? I mean, with sex, there is a science to it.
Right. And even the other part that you got to understand, even they said they did actually try and they did it, but then sometimes people are not fertile. You got to understand that
last
too.
Week. He might be sterile.
The other part too. So you just he just can be with her, and if he did be with her, it wasn't meant for him to have kids.
Yeah.
So there's nothing you can do about that. But if you look at relationships with their kids, and it's Rhaenyra's, right? Rhaenys. She's very close to her grandkids and her children. Rhaenyra's very close to her boys. She's always like hugging them, touching them. You already know I'm going with the third person. You slapping them.
Your father, your father kicking him and shaking.
Yes, like you like
drunk.
Do you like really care?
No affection.
None.
Yeah.
She has none. Not even when that boy eyes cut out. I mean, literally, you could be on his side, like, rubbing his head or something.
You know why? Because they're instruments. They're tools. They're not her children.
No,
not to her. They're items to be used in her revenge and her plans or whatever. They're pieces on the board. They're not children to her.
They also is what's holding her prisoner.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you got to think about that too.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, think about it. If you've been in it this long, there's really nothing for you to do unless the king dies, unless your children all die. You're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
we
do
can
want
see right now, Viserys may not be much of a king, but that motherfucker is resilient as hell.
yes. I do want to say I'm going to put a point in Day Day's column because, at first Michelle convinced me, because at first I was like, yeah, this dude probably was going to kill him. But then I remember he really does believe in the power and strength of Valyrian blood. He probably wouldn't have condoned killing Laenor because he's a Valyrian. Like, he had a problem really killing the guard, but
Right. And his wife.
And his wife, because they weren't
his
they
wife.
weren't they weren't Rhea. They weren't
Mm-hmm.
Velaryons. They weren't the old blood.
Mm-hmm.
And he believes in that.
And he didn't care about them either. I mean, we keep saying that he may not say it in so much words, but he actually did care about Laena, maybe even loved her. I feel like, in a sense, by extension, that means that he also cares for Laenor as her brother, as her twin, but also as Rhaenyra's husband. Like, this is a man who didn't have to stay with Rhaenyra. When she had those kids that obviously are not his, he could have bounced. He would have been legally justified in doing so. He could have said, "Oh no, those are not my kids." Rhaenyra would have been put to death. The kids would have been put to death. He would have been fine. He could have gone and lived his little happy life, whatever. But he stayed loyal to Rhaenyra, and she tells Daemon that much. And I think maybe because of that too, he was like, "Oh, okay, you know what? You did what you were supposed to do. You kept my niece safe. You kept her kids safe. Okay, so let's figure out how everybody can get what they want."
Mm-hmm.
Who cares if some random guard that we don't even know the name or the face dies? Yeah, okay,
Right.
let's kill him and throw him into the fire and make everyone believe that Laenor is dead. And I did feel sorry for Rhaenys, because that scream, like, you just lost your daughter and now you've lost your son. I did feel sorry for her and Corlys for that. But then when I saw him in that boat at the end of the episode with his yarn hair cut off, going to live his best life with Sir Carl, I was like, okay, you know what? I can get down with this. I can get down with this, because that means that as of right now, Rhaenyra and Daemon aren't as bloodthirsty as I was beginning to think that they were. Like, oh, we want to be together. We're going to kill whoever it is we need to kill in order to be together. That's the way they presented it at first.
They did. And I was feeling some type of way about that.
Right.
Because I wasn't for Alicent. I can't stand her. But then I was like, no, they can't do this to Rhaenyra. Now I'm kind of having some bad feelings. Now this man been good. You just say he was a good man, and you just want to kill him.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, though, they weakened the blacks, because they lose not one but two good knights, and also a dragon rider as well.
Well, hopefully, because he dies, hopefully the girls, the one daughter, try to claim the dragon.
I'm trying to remember.
Does it happen? I don't know.
Who claimed Sea Smoke? I knew it, but I forgot who claimed Sea Smoke.
Someone does, though.
Yeah, someone does have Sea Smoke.
But
somebody was
because
saying
that was
they were saying that it's going to be difficult for someone else to claim Sea Smoke, because technically speaking, he shouldn't be able to bond with someone else because his dragon rider is still alive and he's bonded to him. So I was like, I wonder how that's going to work.
Like, I don't think the bonds are quite as strong as like they are in the Wheel of Time, between the Aes Sedai and the War. I think it's more like imprinting, and less like a bond. You know what I mean? So I don't think it would be different if he was like standing around and someone was trying to ride Sea Smoke.
Right. That's what
As
I was
opposed
thinking
to
too.
him not being around, then Sea Smoke like, sure, come on, you know.
Yeah, because he's about to
You
be all
smell
the way
like you
on
smell like a
all the
Valerian.
way
Yeah,
across
you
the
smell
world.
like you smell like a Valerian. Yeah, you can ride me. You know.
Okay.
I think that would be fine.
So yeah, our views on Rhaenyra was about to change, and I was feeling it until the very end. And then online, a lot of friends were saying, "Well, she wanted him dead, but Daemon changed how it was going to happen." I don't believe that. I believe they were having this conversation of what needs to happen, and then later they had that conversation of how we're gonna make this happen. And that's the conversation we didn't see is how are we gonna make this happen? Because she just said how you have a great heart, and you hear him, Laenor say, "Hey, I have to do duty, and sometimes that's not gonna go against what you want in your heart. So I'm gonna go with duty." And she's like, this will free him.
Not
and this
only
will give
that,
us what we need.
The thing that confused me at first was when Daemon went to Sir Carl to pay him off. I was like, Sir Carl has been Laenor's lover for how long?
Yeah.
I was like, and then I had to go back and look and listen to the conversation.
And what
Daemon,
he actually says to him.
He says, there are places across the narrow sea that will ignore a man's name if you have enough gold. And then he gives him a purse. And then he was like, well, what do you want me to do? He was like, a quick death. I think at some point they had to have a conversation
with
about
witnesses.
What they were going to do. Yeah. It had to be a conversation about what they were going to do. Because the way that Sir Carl walked in there and they were getting ready to fight, again, this was before the second time I rewatched the scene. So I'm sitting here like, wait, what the fuck is going on? When they start fighting and then the guard leaves to go get help. And then, of course, we're seeing the scenes interspersed where Daemon kills someone and blah, blah, blah. And then when we come back, Sir Laenor, quote unquote, is in the fire. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, the two things that felt wrong was Daemon killing a random soldier.
Yeah, those like that came out.
And Laenor's reaction to Carl being there. Why are you in my father's chamber? Maybe I was waiting for you. I mean, it was those two random things. And then the reaction he had to him just being in there, like, we're gonna draw swords over this.
Yeah,
you could just told him to get out.
Well, no, Sir Carl said to him, he said, "You've always looked down on me," or something like that.
I know, but he escalated it, but because they had the witness there. But I'm saying initially, why are you in my father's chamber?
Yeah.
Oh, you've always looked down on me, and we're gonna what are we fighting about?
And he never, but he never walks around like that. See,
no, neither one of them does.
Yeah, so we should have known from there. Like, dude, you normally don't even act like this.
Yeah, but yeah, because like when
Damon, your man just got you from the ocean the other day.
And when Daemon killed the guy, I looked at Michelle, was like, what was that for?
Yeah,
right. And I was thinking, like, the whole thing with Sir Carl, I was like, so money is enough to get you to turn on this man? Like, they were getting ready to go to Dragonstone, and Princess Rhaenyra was like, you can bring them.
Right.
And you finna turn. They have... What? I was so confused.
Yeah, it wasn't adding up.
And then when I saw Laenor in that boat, I was like, I literally had a sigh of relief, like, oh my God, he's gonna go live his life and he's gonna be happy. And I felt so much relief when I saw him get in that boat. Like,
what was the word earlier that Rhaenyra had called Day? Not deplorable. It was depraved or something.
Yes.
He's like, you think I'm depraved? And Michelle and I were going back and forth. I'm like, if you look at the stuff Daemon did, he has always kind of been honorable. Like, even when he was head of the Gold Cloaks, he enforced the laws just all in one night.
He still killed his first wife.
Well, that's up for debate.
No, it's not up for
still-
debate.
I mean, he could.
He
I said
assisted in
he
her
was trying to settle the horse.
No, he was assisting her.
Her uneasiness is what set the horse off.
I'm on his.
Settle the horse down.
I'm on his side.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I really
it's
don't think that was
interpreted.
on purpose. I think that just happened to be a happy bonus for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he went there with. I don't think he went there with the purpose to kill her.
He killed her. He killed her while she was laying in there paralyzed. She was gonna die.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, so nice. Okay.
No, seriously, go back again. I'm big on facial expressions and body language. Go back and look at that episode when he's standing there, and then
with his hood on.
Huh? Yeah, I mean
his hood halfway covering his face.
He walks around like that all the time.
Oh, okay. I've watched that scene a few times,
yeah,
and
I still don't think he did that on purpose.
But my point was that we haven't seen him do anything overtly, like obviously depraved. Really, it's all been motivated sort of by
and the killing his wife was motivated too. I'm okay. I'm saying I'm okay with it. I'm just saying he did do that, right? Yeah, I just need to understand he did that. However, that was a means to an end.
I mean, he killed her at the end, but I don't think I think that
he needed a new wife. He needed to move up in the world. He wasn't going to move up with her.
That was a mercy killing. He was
because he was done with her.
Well, she was struggling. She was barely,
and she was horrible to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he needed to get out of this situation. So he was abused. So
my point is, even his reaction, like, you think I'm depraved? Like I really think if you look at what we know about him, he really isn't the type of person who's gonna hire someone to kill somebody else anyway. Now, poor guard,
I think he would do it himself.
The poor guard, like, unfortunately, you were just kind of in the way. Yeah. He kind of needed you, so
that's true.
But that's really not being depraved. That's just putting the plan in motion,
right? So,
but if you think about it, too, if you're looking at it from Rhaenyra's point of view, because again, she's basing that assumption on what she knows of him. You know what I'm saying?
Or has been told about him.
Right. So if you think about it, maybe in her mind, that scene where he left her in the brothel, she may have thought, okay, well, the scene where he took her to the brothel first. Okay, that might be a little depraved considering she's 17, 18 or whatever, but he was showing her a part of life that she would not have gotten still being in the castle,
Correct.
Oh yeah, okay, so this is something you can control, and this is not, you don't have to sit here and be sexually repressed, or you don't have to sit here and do what everybody else tells you to do. There's more to life than what you've known behind the castle walls. In her mind is depraved because of what she witnessed there, and then of course the fact that he left her there. But
we're going to give him some points, because she said when you left me, he was like, you was a child. So he's not depraved, because he was like, you were too young.
Right.
He stopped himself and exited the situation.
He's like, this is this is not right.
Even at the wedding, she was like, okay, I'm sure you got some weapons, let's do this. He's like, yeah, nah, catch me in 10 years.
Yeah. And she did.
Right.
She found her moment.
She really did.
So yeah, he's not, because he even had the sense like, honey, you are a child. Yeah.
Right. And like I said, even in the scene where she seduced him, he was hands off.
He was hands off.
He was
hands off. Oh, stop. Please stop. Stop.
Like giving her a chance to be like, okay, you know what? This is really not what I want to do. He was trying to see, okay, so how far are we going with this? Oh, we're going this far. Oh, okay. Well, I guess since we're here, she's a grown woman. She done said, hey,
she grown.
This is what I want.
She grown now.
Right.
She grown now.
So his third marriage, her second marriage, and this is a better wedding for her, because her first wedding started with a death.
Somebody said
this wedding was the only two people wedding
in Westeros to get through a wedding with no one dying. But I mean, technically speaking, somebody died at the beginning of the episode in order for them to even. But again, that bothers me, because it feels like all of this happened at.
The guard died. I know it wasn't right before the wedding, but he made the
It
wedding
wasn't during the
possible.
wedding. It doesn't count.
Yeah, but this was a nice wedding
It doesn't
ceremony.
count.
Okay, they were dressed up.
They had their children
It
there.
was a
Well, okay.
traditional Targaryen wedding.
Yes,
It
that's
was
what I'm
very
saying.
similar to Lyanna and Rhaegar's wedding.
Yeah,
I know, that's what I'm saying. And it was very like intimate. Like they were like, you know, when people are very close and then their foreheads kind of touching and the side of their face, it's like if you didn't know anything, if you just came in and watched that part of the episode, you're like, man, these people in love. I mean, you don't know that, you know,
You really see him
niece and uncle.
smile in an affectionate way like that?
Right.
He was like, it looked like happiness.
Right. I mean, you'd be like, wow. You just didn't know what led up to this point.
Both of them, they looked like they were happy.
Right.
Now, I couldn't really see the
this
kids.
is finally what we're
No, the kids is like, what the hell is going on?
I couldn't see the kids' faces, but I'm sure they're like, what's going on right
They
now?
showed the kids and they looked a little confused. Like, where did this come from?
It feels like it all took place all within the same time period. And I understand he a baby, but can we please see the other baby, the other
Joffrey?
child? Yes.
I was gonna ask where was Joffrey at?
He with the with the wet nurses.
I know, but Aegon was 2 years old and he was being pranced around everywhere.
Yeah, but she's not gonna do that. See, she cares about her kids. Okay, so she had a babysitter in the castle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The babysitter wasn't coming to the funeral with the baby. They wasn't coming to the beach because she needs to get her groove back. So, you know, the babysitter was in that room with that baby.
Okay.
I guess.
Joffrey. I think they didn't want to mar this episode with a Joffrey. You know how that goes.
Oh.
But you know.
So now that Daemon and that Day and Ray are married, they're gonna have a baby.
Right. You know? That's why we have to move forward. That's important.
It is.
Yes.
And I have read far enough in the book
to know the answer to the question.
It's about to get interesting. Yes. I mean, we only have 3 more episodes for this season. So I really feel like they'll probably get up to that point. But if they're moving as fast as they are now, especially with us seeing that the kids are a little bit older in the next episode, I have a feeling something major is about to happen in the next episode. And I think I know what it is, but I'm just kind of like,
well, you know, the series got to die.
Well, okay, so two major things happening next episode. Because I think Viserys is I think he's not long for this world.
No, because I mean he was struggling on the ship. I mean, getting to the ship, and he's having a difficult time. He's calling his current wife, his ex-wife's name. I mean, funny. He's just.
That shit was funny.
And if people wasn't paying attention, you could have missed that.
That shit was funny.
Because he missed it. And I was like, no, he called her. And I couldn't figure out when at the end of the episode, I was like, I don't know, maybe it was when they were all together in the hall. And then we went further back. I'm like, yep, there you go.
You know, I don't like freeze framing and
whatever. We had to find it, but you know.
Her and Sir Kristen are looking at him, and then Sir Harold was like, "Shall I see to Queen Alicent?" And he turned and looked like, "Oh, that is her."
Oh, no, she all right. She all right.
Like, look, she got her other man over there with her.
She is okay, but I need her to fix her face because she just opening the looks on her face.
Open disdain.
However, I loved how they did the episode, except for it being dark, because they built on that tension at the funeral, which led to the hall, and even how they did that just play with everyone in there going back and forth with repercussions from the eye removal. So and then Otto in the side. You got Daemon on the left, Otto on the right. When they were in that hall, and as soon as she said they called him. What did she say? They started talking about the line, and they called them bastards or whatnot. He gonna step forward. Oh, so we're gonna start talking about this now. I like how he moved forward. We ready to talk about this now?
That whole scene reminded me of Arya and Joffrey with the wolf, with Nymeria attacking Joffrey, going before Robert. It was just a whole lot more people, and the allegations were way more serious. But I tell you,
it was the same thing, because she was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter what direwolf we kill, as long as we kill a direwolf." And she said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! My direwolf had nothing to do with this." But yeah, that's a conversation for another time. It was, I don't know, Kristen Cole. I need for him to die. I need for him to choke on his some. I need something to happen to him. Like, he's really, really getting on my nerves. Really. But you know, Rhaenyra she thought really hard about what she was going to do.
She did, because when the boys told her,
she thought about it. She was like,
when the boys whispered to her, they called me a bastard. She was like, "Oh shit."
She was like, "Oh, okay, let's settle this shit once and for all."
She took a moment. She took a moment because she had to figure out, like, how do I play this without it being an issue.
Yeah. So you can tell that for her, I'm gonna say, I think she did herself a disservice by not playing the game. Like, it's almost like she sort of took herself out of the game. But it's obvious that she can probably play the game better than Alicent can. But she's just not playing the game. You know what I mean? She's making little moves, she's doing little things, but she's not in the game like she needs to be.
And now she is. Now she's thinking about it, and that's when she was like, "Daemon, we need to secure this." Yeah, now because, sorry to say, this bitch is crazy. And she willing to come after me with a knife and my kids with a knife. She's willing to do anything
to kill, to get us out of the way.
Then Alicent started feeling bad about everything that happened. And her dad, not being a great parent, said, "Oh, I didn't think I'll ever see a side of you like this. I love it. This is what we need."
I don't think she felt bad about what she did. I think she felt bad about the fact that everybody saw her behaving.
Okay, I go with that. She felt bad, but about something else.
That cloak of righteousness.
Right. But that was unbecoming of herself. She felt bad about looking bad. However, her dad is like, "You're ready."
Everybody saw her for who she truly was.
I know, but now her dad is like, "Oh, she's ready."
She's getting better though, because Lord Larys is like, it could be arranged. And she's like, "No, let me be clear. Do not do anything.
You're not taking nobody's eye. You're not killing nobody. You're not doing nothing. I don't need nothing from you right now.
As a matter of fact, I will let you know when I need something."
Right.
Because
that time will come.
Yeah, but if you leave it up to vagueness and uncertainties, he's going to interpret it however he wants to interpret.
But now she knows.
But now she knows.
Now she knows.
She learned her lesson the hard way, but she learned it.
She now knows.
Got to be specific.
She now knows she got some lessons from Daddy Otto. She has, you know what I'm saying? She learned about that consequence from last week. She's learning how you got to keep your emotions on check.
And Viserys told her, "Do not let your emotions cloud your judgment." And that's one of the key things of playing the game.
Right. And that's what I said. Daddy Otto is giving her the instructions because he feels that now she is capable.
That's why Ned played the game so poorly.
Yeah.
Eddard Stark let his emotions cloud his judgment. He should have threw them people in jail as soon as he found out and sorted out later. But no, he had to slow roll it.
Investigate himself.
I'm sorry I went off on a tangent because that still kind of pisses me off.
That's okay. I understand.
All Game of Thrones shows will be compared to the gold standard that is the Game of Thrones.
But I'm sitting here. I'm looking at the scene in the background where Viserys is questioning where Aemond and Aegon heard this heard these rumors. I find it interesting that Lord Corlys's brother is actually standing over by the queen and not by his brother and his family. I don't know if that means anything, but I just find it real interesting. I didn't even notice that at first.
Well, you already know how he feels. He said it at the funeral.
He did. He said, our blood is pure. Our blood is true. And our blood will not be thinned. So we know where he stands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is the rest of the Velaryons going to stand with him? We'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I mean, I don't know, because Lord Corlys, your brother is the Lord, blah, blah, blah. But Corlys is the one who controls the seas. Corlys is the one who gave them their wealth. Corlys is the one who, for all intents and purposes, is the man.
Right. And that's his grandkids to him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to take over. So
they got the name.
Lord of the Tides is his title, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I won't say it. History doesn't remember blood, but names.
Right.
So now that Laenor is gone, that means that Lucerys, right, is
now the heir to Driftmark.
Heir to Driftmark.
Mm-hmm.
Or Lord of the Tides.
Yep. Poor baby. He didn't want that title, but yeah, he is the heir now. Because, Rhaenys tried to get him to give it to Laena's kids. And he was like, you want me to cast a shadow on those boys more than what's already there? I would say this, Lord Corlys and Sir Laenor, they loyal. They got their families back. They like, oh, okay. You know what? Yeah, they're not ours by blood, but they are still ours. We are claiming them. And they will get every luxury afforded to that last name that they carry.
He's like, as far as he's concerned, those are my grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And Laenor was the same. As far as he was concerned, those was his kids. Now I do have some issues with him gallivanting around and not, because he's supposed to be a really good knight. So he should have had a hand in training his sons to be what they need to be, and he was nowhere to be found.
No, he was
that would be my problem really with him, is, and I think that may be part of Rhaenyra's problem, is you really should have been there. Like, you still could have done what you wanted to do, but you really weren't here to help with your boys.
You should have had more of a presence. Yeah.
Yeah, you should have more presence. You should have been involved in their training. You and Harwin together, and no one would have questioned it if y'all were sitting there together training these boys.
Instead, you sword fighting with somebody else.
Crossing swords in the yards and in the hay with Sir Carl.
Yeah. Oh well, but Sir Laenor is now off living his best life across the narrow sea.
I'm happy for him.
I know.
Well, we don't have to worry about no random Velaryons over in Pentos running around, pitter-patting around.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, oh,
even though I did look up who claimed sea smoke.
Is it a spoiler if you tell us?
Not really. Not really.
Because I mean, obviously, sea smoke has to be claimed. So who claimed who?
Some kid claimed them. Some 15-year-old. He and his brother claimed 2 of the dragons, and word was that they were bastards of Laenor, but they may have been bastards of Corlys. And the reason why the dragons took them is because they had Valyrian blood.
Ah, okay.
So
okay. That's interesting. I will say this episode did make me say, okay, I gotta go finish that. I gotta go finish that book. I'm really trying not because I know they're gonna I know they're gonna change some stuff just like they changed say Sir Laenor's death. I know they're gonna change some stuff. I still kind of want to be like, okay, I need to know what's going on. I did look at Wiki last night just because I was like,
You
okay,
got to stay out. You got to stay out of it.
I'm trying, but I
I'll
was
tell
like,
you.
after what happened in this episode, I knew something major was supposed to be coming up. I was like, okay, so how many years? And then when I'm looking, I'm like, oh, and then I looked at the preview and I was like, oh. So
I was telling someone today, I said what they keep talking about in interviews is that they have a lot of leeway with the stuff from the book because isn't some of the stuff from the book like secondhand and third hand accounts
all
of
of it is.
what may have happened?
Mm-hmm.
Like it might
It's like
not be
written by a mace. Oh, actually, this part of the story is written by someone named Mushroom, who was
mushroom,
a
yeah.
court jester during Viserys's time.
So
So
you sort of have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt.
mm-hmm.
So what we may be seeing on the screen is what actually happened
Mm-hmm.
versus what the accounts are in the book, which may
Right.
have been like a perversion of the truth.
Right.
So it's possible that Laenor actually did escape and was not killed, but for
Well,
the
the thing
purposes
about
of the
Laenor's
story, he was killed.
yeah, the thing about Laenor's death in the books is that he was stabbed in an open market. So it's
Yeah.
like there were a lot of witnesses to his death. Which again, that could have been
that
fake.
could have
Yeah.
been
Yep.
that whole story could be, yeah, there were a lot of witnesses there, but how many witness accounts do we have in the book?
Mm-hmm.
One who may not have been there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I do like the fact that that's the approach they're taking.
Mm-hmm.
The similar thing was, if you remember in Logan, when they were doing the comic books, and he was like, well, that's not actually what happened, because
Yeah.
she was looking at the comic books and it's like, no, we didn't dress like this.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I like that they're giving life to the story
I do too.
and taking some poetic license with what happened in the book, because they have to have some. They can't be constricted to what's happening in the
Right.
book.
Because we all seen the YouTube videos or we read the book and YouTube videos that have talked about it, the line of succession and all those things in the books and the books and the books. That you gotta do a little something different.
Yeah. Oh, to protect you, my queen. Sir Kristen.
I'm sworn
She
to
was like,
protect you.
right.
I'm gonna be honest. I
really,
absolutely love that scene. I know because I watched it twice the same night, but I absolutely love that scene because she really thought that she was about to do something.
Right. But here's the thing again, people are like, how is it that Sir Kristen still has his job?
Yeah,
Yes, you swore to the queen, but the king told you, even though he ended up doing what the king told him to stay his hand. But how do you think that this person is supposed to serve you over the king?
It's Kingsguard.
That part.
Kingsguard.
That part.
I think
and other duties.
We have talked about Sir Harold and like what is his purpose in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is his purpose on the show? Like, why do you have this great actor Gavin McTavish just be like a background character with 2 lines, and then with 2 looks in this episode? That's why they hired this actor.
Yeah, because it's coming.
He looked at him like, really?
Yeah, but in future episodes, something's gonna happen.
I think so.
Because Sir Cole is just out of control.
Yeah.
But see, the difference is Queen Alicent got a king husband. Sir Cole really don't have anybody. So he has to make sure he does the right thing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm sorry.
And not listen to her.
Queen Alicent, her ass should be in a tower right now.
I mean, she should.
She should be locked in a dungeon.
Like you didn't even give the kids a chance to explain what happened.
Nope.
No, they did get a chance.
They tried to, but
they all were yelling.
They were, but
they were
I mean, but
kids.
clearly you can see, like, if you look at everyone, your son is not the only one who has some damage done to him. It's like he just has some permanent damage. I mean, they got bloody nose, broken nose, blood, swollen eye. That means they were just all fighting, and it got out of hand. And yes, he shouldn't have had a knife. I'm just talking about if you just say kids playing or fighting. He shouldn't have had a knife.
But he kept the knife. The knife was still in its hilt. He only pulled it out once Aemond said something to him about calling him a bastard, saying, well, at least my dad's still alive. He was like, so your brother doesn't know, does he, Lord Strong? That was the only time that Jacaerys pulled out the knife, and based on what happened in the scene, he was justified in doing that. You are calling into question my lineage,
right,
where I'm from.
The other funny thing about that scene, though, was as serious as Alicent was making it out to be, as soon as she said they call them bastards, she goes, "Oh, that's just boys training yard talk." Like, whoa, wait a second. Either this is serious or it's not.
And that's what I was trying to say. Like, even if we just took it at hand that they're fighting, okay, one had a knife. Okay, next time y'all shouldn't be, fighting and actually have a weapon. Okay, he's hurt. We say our apologies, we walk away. But she made it out to be more and more and more, and it grew and grew until it's to a point where you're going to be accused of something. And you're like, okay, we're going to change the subject. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, you don't open your mouth all these years.
Right.
This is
but then when it was more fire to the flame, and then it's like, okay, I still need an eye for an eye. Well, we start doing that with kids. That's what we're doing. My issue was that's what we're doing with kids.
And then
a future king.
And then she goes, if you won't do it, I'll do it.
Like,
what are we doing right
ma'am,
now?
you really gonna go over to the boy's eye? You think they're gonna let you just stand over him and cut his eye? Like, you need to control your emotions. Get it together.
And Kristen, poor Kristen, she was like, I need for you to go over there and take an eye. You can give him a choice because my son like, he was like, what? Wait, what?
And I don't think I could do this.
And then Harold looked at him. So Harold was like,
don't even move. Don't even move.
And then when he tried to go protect the queen when she attacked Rhaenyra, Daemon was like, nope. So Harold was like, oh, he got this.
He's like, let me go stop these other dudes because they look like they might kill her. So let me hold them off.
But I do like how Daemon was just like at the back, just leaning against the wall, like, shit, this ain't me this time.
Right. He was looking like,
ooh.
There was a meme someone had posted about that. He's like, it had nothing to do with none of this. He always leaned against something.
But what's interesting that he did need to lean back, though. He needed to stay back because y'all both walk in together when all this is happening. Where have you been? I couldn't sleep, so I was taking a walk.
And it didn't cross nobody's mind that they were together.
Because how he stayed in the back and she rushed in, you didn't think anything of it. But if they both rushed in and she rushed to her sons and then he rushed to his daughters, we're like, where the hell we are?
But I think he did save Sir Christian Cole's life when he stopped him. Like when Kristen was starting to run over there and he got it from and stopped him. I think he saved Kristen Cole's life.
Yeah, because he would have killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if he was going to touch his boo.
Yeah. Well, Sir Harold would have killed him.
Right.
Those guards would have killed him.
Here's the other interesting thing that we have not touched upon yet. So we were talking about Princess Helena and her babbling in the last episode. And it turns out she may be a little bit of a prophet.
Yeah, she's an oracle.
Right, because in the episode last week when we're introduced to her character, she's off to the side and she's saying these things while she's playing with the bug. And when Queen Alicent told Aemond don't worry, you will have a dragon one day. What Helena says that, if you don't know the history or don't know what's coming up, seems totally random. She said he'll have to close an eye. And in this episode, of course, he has claimed his dragon, but now he has an eye that's permanently closed.
Mm-hmm.
And he even says, he was like, do not mourn me. He was like, do not mourn me, mother, for I may have lost an eye, but what I gained, what did he say? What I gained was,
dragon.
Yeah, was far more.
Far more.
Mm-hmm.
And she also talked about the two dragons spinning webs and being interwoven.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about the marriage.
Mm-hmm. No one's paying attention to her.
She's gonna be like Cassandra.
True.
She's gonna be making all these prophecies, and no one's gonna listen to her until it's too late.
I'm telling you. Oh, this episode. I mean, they just
messy.
It was so messy, but it was
it was.
good. It was
but so good though. It was.
Watching the kids fight, I'm sorry, I got some joy out of that. That was fun.
I did too, especially when they all pounced on. When they all pounced on. And
let's talk about which one was it? Baylor, Rhaenyra, one of them. Whichever one punched him in the face and knocked him to the ground. I was like, "Yep."
Yeah. Didn't she hit him twice? Like she punched him once, and he was like, "Wait a second, you just do that?" And then she did it again. Yeah, they got a little bit of their dad in them.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So,
but
the only thing that caught me by surprise, honestly, was when we were watching Rhaenyra and Daemon on the beach, and then she started bringing up their old issues. I was like, oh, so she really been harboring this for 10 years? I didn't know that. So that did throw me off. You have abandoned me. And I was thinking when she first said it, I know, but when she first said it, I'm thinking, oh, you lost your uncle. But that's not what she meant by it. She was coming as a woman, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, this.
She was like, look at what my life has become without you.
Right. I was like,
saying,
okay,
I could have avoided all of this stuff. I could have avoided a loveless marriage. I could have avoided all this drama. She didn't say it out loud, but if she had been with Daemon, she would have had 3 Targaryen children by now.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, yeah, you know what? I just went through all this stuff because you decided to abandon me. And like you said, he was like, you were a child. She was like, well, I ain't no child no more. Let me show you.
Right. So that took me by surprise. I was like, oh, I didn't know she was holding these feelings for this long.
All because of one stupid phrase. Heir for a day. Had he not said that.
Yeah, that's true.
Had he not said that. He could have said all the other stuff. But had he not said heir for a day.
It would have been okay.
It would have been all right.
Because he would have been the heir. At least until the kids were born, the kids were born. But
if he had told his brother, I'll marry her, he probably might. That's not a bad idea,
Yeah. I mean, because if you're literally putting together your son and daughter, I mean, it's not a big deal putting your daughter and your brother together.
The Targaryens.
I know, but it's just worse, brother and sister. Oh, okay.
Well, they can't really argue with that because Aegon married both of his sisters.
I understand. Yeah,
Aegon the Conqueror. Yep, he did.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just saying, it's just.
And Daenerys would have, she would have had to marry that Viserys.
He was going to marry her. I think he said it. He was going to marry her.
But then he sold her to Khal Drogo, which ended up being way better for her anyway.
Of course,
way better.
Viserys got his gold crown, so.
That scene.
I love it. I'm about to say.
Never ceases.
I was like,
as soon as we get off here, we're going to watch that scene.
Yes. Okay.
I think I watched it a couple of days ago doing one of my YouTube dives.
In his speech afterwards, you don't even have to watch it with the subtitles.
All you gotta do is look at Jason Momoa walk around like ha ha ha. You like, I don't know what he's selling, but I'm here for it. I'm buying whatever it is.
He's like, man, where's my horse? I'm coming, dude.
Right.
I'm joining you.
Boy, let me tell you.
Once again, we're comparing the show to the gold standard.
That's okay. That's gonna happen.
It's okay, but this is
because I also thought about the scene where Rhaenyra attacked Joffrey. And I was like, yeah, that was just like the scene in the cave. Very similar to that. Joffrey being an idiot.
You know, Game of Thrones is the parent show. So this is a good kid show. Very good. They're doing a great job.
The actors are all outstanding.
Right, they are. They just picked a great person for Daemon. I mean, he's leaning, he's just looking, he don't say anything, but you just feel his emotions and what he's thinking and what he's feeling.
He does not have to say anything.
He does it. I mean, it's great.
He had one of the great lines when Sir Otto was like, yeah, welcome back. And he's like, a fat leech is always looking for the next meal. He walks off like, damn,
it's been some time, and you back at it again.
We pick right up where we left off with Otto.
Well, I mean, but think about if you think about it, the way you keep saying it, Anthony, that Daemon should have been the hand. Otto has been the hand not once but twice now.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might be a little resentful too.
Right.
Yeah. Fat leech is always looking for his next meal. Goddamn.
And he feels like his brother is their meal. Like they're like literally. And look at him. Pretty much he is.
Pretty much he is.
I mean, the stress of this alone. I mean, he really should be in a coma.
He should have been dead. Like I said, I'm very surprised that
of the age of 38.
And I think
no, he's like 40.
I think he's like maybe
45.
50 now.
I thought he was in the 40s because ultimately he still is young. It's just the disease is deteriorating his body faster than it should. So he's not actually old.
Yeah. But I think at one point in the story, at least in the books, I think at one point, like several years down the road, it says that he held a celebration to celebrate his restored health. So I don't know if he got better, if they found a cure, or if it was just that he wasn't deteriorating as quickly. I don't know, but
I think the new maester was taking better care of him than the old maester. Because when the old maester was doing leeches, this maester actually was doing poultices. He amputated the arm. He's the one that's gotten him going this far.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
and if it was still leeches, he would have been gone. Second, third episode.
Yeah. And probably if that other maester had been in charge of his care, he probably could have stayed whatever it is killing him.
Yeah. If he had been in charge earlier. Yeah.
Like that finger once that finger started looking infected, it would have been gone.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have let it spread to another finger. Yeah.
Or the arm.
Or the arm. Yeah.
Oh well, did we forget anything? I think we.
No, I think I got with the fat leech thing. That was the only thing I think was funny.
That shit was funny, but yeah, that you know what there was even just thinking back to that scene, there was so much shade being thrown around, and it's like the way people were paying attention to Rhaenyra. It was bothersome to me. Like, I know y'all are looking at her like this is the princess. She's here with her boys who don't, like I said, don't quite look like everybody else in the family. But I love Corlys for still being the grandfather to those children. Because again, we see Rhaenys, being supportive and being loving and affectionate to Lena's daughters, but you see nothing but disdain for her with
Mm-hmm.
Jacaerys. At least, maybe it wasn't meant to be disdain, but that's the way I took it because of the way that she looked, and he just kind of looked at her and walked off like he has no connection with this grandmother of his.
Right. Or even how she looked at Rhaenyra too. And I feel like you shouldn't, because you know kind of what's going on. You knew what was going on.
You knew
So
your son was gay.
Right. So you should probably understand that they probably had a deal going on anyway. And this is the best they can do. So let's pretend.
Because again, he's been supportive of her. He's been loving towards those kids. He,
Right. But
maybe
she's not.
like you said, not as present as he could have been,
Mhm.
but he hasn't been neglectful either. Like, this was the first time I've seen Viserys interact with Aegon and Aemond. I'm just saying.
That's true. Well, Allison over there slapping Aegon.
And
Like, what's that for?
and Otto kicked him, picked him up, shook him. Like,
I
didn't
said,
say a word to him.
Ae-
Didn't say a word.
Aegon's gonna have some issues because
You
of
think?
all this.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You think?
he's gonna have some issues.
Now, I did like the fact that we saw, I think it was 5 dragons at one time
Oh
during the
yeah.
funeral. I was like,
Mhm.
oh. So I know it had to have been Sea Smoke, had to have been Vagar. Who were the other ones? Caraxes, maybe.
Craxus and um, I forgot what Rhaenyra's dragon's name
Started
is.
with an S.
It starts with an S. It's like Caraxus, but it's close to that.
And then there was one more. So Rhaenys's dragon,
Rhaenys's
maybe?
dragon. Yeah, she had. Yeah,
But would she have
Because it was
Oh, well, no, I forgot they were on Driftmark, so her dragon would have been there anyway. So yeah, okay.
Yeah,
but
she
then
has a
when
dragon.
the king left, it was 3 dragons in the air.
Yeah, because Rhaenys's dragon wouldn't have left.
Mm-mm.
And then
So it was
maybe
Vagar.
Sea Smoke stayed behind because Laenor was quote unquote dead.
Yeah, so it would have had to been Aegon's dragon.
Would have gotten that big already?
Well, one was far away where you couldn't really tell what size it was.
Uh-huh.
Oh wait, no.
But it's 3 flying with
Yeah, it was 3 flying with the ship.
With the ship. And that has to belong to
One, we know one was Vagar.
Right. So it was 2 others.
And 2 others.
I don't know. So
that's interesting. I don't know who
because if Rhaenyra and Daemon both rode their own dragons, then those dragons would have been left behind too. So I don't know.
Unless they sent them ahead.
But they wouldn't follow. They wouldn't be following like Viserys and Alicent. I don't know. I'll have to go back and relook at that and see if I can tell which dragons they are, or see if I can find something online, because I know somebody has freeze framed and looked at it and probably has that information online as far as which dragons were actually there and which ones left once the king left.
So. That is a good question.
Now I'm questioning, was it 3?
It was 3.
Okay.
There were 3.
Yep.
Because for a moment I was trying to figure out what dragons could have been, because Vagar was the only one I would have known.
Okay.
Then one would have to have been Aegon, which is, it's like sun something.
Okay.
We'll
figure that out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure that out. But yeah, All Out War is about to happen. Which is, like I said, I don't know if they would do 2 big events in the next episode. but I kind of sort of feel like Viserys is probably down and out next episode, or I don't know. They may stretch him out until 9 or 10 and just end the season with his death. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you looked it up?
did you
Yeah.
just look it up?
I did. They're saying the daughter has a dream fire. She has a dragon. Does she
Okay,
have a dragon? Is that
Hmm.
a
probably
spoiler?
so because
Oh,
then
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
So
do
that would
remember
be
that.
3.
So Dreamfire, Sunfire, and Vagar. The Sunfire is Aegon's dragon.
Well, they didn't even list his dragon, so that's odd.
Well, I guess we'll see. But I'm trying to think. I feel like there was something else that I wanted to mention about this episode. Now I can't think about it. I can't think of it. So it'll probably come to my mind once this one has been, released, and I'll just have to mention it for the next episode. But I think that's it, right? You guys have anything else you want to say about this episode?
No, I'm good.
Mm-mm.
Aemon caught them hands, didn't he? Oh, yeah.
You got those paws on them.
I don't advocate violence amongst children. However, that
He
that
deserved it.
that scene was fun to watch. Even though he was whooping their asses. I mean, it's 4-on-1, and y'all like
Yeah, he just kind of threw them all off of him.
again. That's that.
Yeah.
That's that training from Sir
The
Kristen
training,
Cole.
yes.
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was. That how unfortunate.
How unfortunate. But
He's tough. I have a feeling he's going to be a force to reckon with.
I'm not saying nothing because I think I know how that part of the story ends. So, on that note, we will end this right here. You will find us, blah, blah, blah. Wow, I just messed that up. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. We have a Discord channel. You can find us there at Fandom Hybrid Podcast. We are on YouTube. You can watch our videos there and listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.